Well, Aubrey, thank you for being with us today. And I'm curious, how did you decide to be interested in mental health?
Yeah, thank you for having me. My whole background in mental health started with my own mental health struggles. Growing up through my childhood and getting into college, I really identified struggling with anxiety and depression. I was diagnosed with anxiety and depression, and I didn't understand necessarily where it came from in a way because I was always a type A student. I didn't ever feel necessarily like I was inclined to be at risk for anxiety and depression, and I didn't really see it coming in my life. It definitely kind of took me by surprise, but college for me was a huge culture shock, and I didn't feel necessarily adequately prepared for college. So I think college students transitioning from high school to college is a vital time in their life in general, because not only are you getting that culture shock of, being on campus, living on your own, probably being away from your family for the first time in your life, but this is also the most important time of your life where you get to develop your own morals, your own values, your own opinions, and really begin to lead your life as an independent individual.
Yeah, I think that that's very much true. But one of the interesting things that you just talked about was, hey, I got to college, I had some struggles, but then you turned those struggles into activity and into helping others. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So beginning my first 2 years of college, I received my associate's degree at NEO A&M College in Miami, Oklahoma. And so there I really started identifying with my own mental health struggles. And when I began talking about it, I realized that I wasn't alone. There's something so empowering about talking about your issues, and realizing that there are so many people in your corner, that there's so many people feeling the same way that you're feeling, and that they're just not necessarily as willing to talk about it because there's so much shame around mental health and depression and anxiety. And so that really drove me to steer myself in the right direction and use my own issues to become a mental health advocate. And so I knew I wanted to do something about it. With my position on campus, I was in student body government and several other organizations. We started a project on campus during the pandemic to start an online mental health support group for students. And this was a great time to really do this because this was when everybody was sent home from COVID and everybody was experiencing isolation. And as we all know, I mean, human nature, it's not in us to be isolated. We don't know how to deal with it. And so therefore we often do find ourselves depressed, anxious. And in that time, we were all fearful. It was something that we had never dealt with before, a pandemic. And so having that online mental health support group really provided a great outlet for students to relate to one another, speak to one another, get some more understanding, and do all of that under the supervision of a licensed professional. And so then I also did a couple public speaking events and whatnot on campus, where I was able to speak out about my mental health and also guide high school students, incoming high school students, on how to manage their time, how to notice when their mental health is declining, and also prevent their mental health from declining. So one thing that I really focused on was advising students to really manage their time wisely, don't let college overwhelm you, and really focus on serving yourself. You can't just completely give yourself over to college. You are the student, and so in order for you to perform correctly, you really have to nurture yourself. And so in that way, I focused on nutrition, exercise, and just lifestyle activities. One thing that I really emphasized is, you may want to study for 12 hours in a day, and that's okay. But it's also important to take 30 minutes to yourself and do something that you enjoy, because that's something that's going to make you feel so much better at the end of the day, and it's going to prevent you from mentally declining. And so whenever I graduated from NEO with my associates, I transferred to Missouri State. I am in the nursing program at Missouri State currently. And upon admission at Missouri State, I knew I really wanted to continue my advocacy, both on and off the college campus. And so starting with my advocacy, I got the opportunity to apply for a leadership position at a newly started leadership committee on our campus. It is a student mental health and inclusivity leadership committee. So I applied for that, and I got a leadership position. So I work with several other students who are on our leadership committee, and we plan monthly events that support, nurture, and help prevent, mental health issues and struggles in students, faculty, and staff on campus. So a big part of that is not only are we, trying to serve students on campus, but we also want to serve the faculty and staff. A lot of our faculty and staff, they come from a generation where there's so much shame, so much stigma behind mental health. And so a big thing for us is allowing faculty and staff to, support our events and be included in our events so that they can learn how to better help their students and learn how to be more understanding and how to address mental health in their students and see those, signs and symptoms that they can maybe address. So that can be anything from, a seminar on suicide prevention. We also do seminars on nutrition and how nutrition can impact your mental health. And then during, stressful times of the college semesters, like finals week, we try and put on events like partnering with the local Humane Society and things like that, where we can provide pet therapy for students on campus. Because even if it's just in passing between classes, there's something really exponential about a student being able to get just a little bit of stress relief, maybe for even 5 minutes between classes. They could stop and, pet a dog or play with a dog or just have someone to talk to while doing those things. And they really do. It has had great outcome for students, and we get a lot of feedback on that. Students feel so much stress relief, especially around such a stressful time, and so we're really just working to get that up and going and just continue our community outreach and just really identify the mental health issues on campus.
But it sounds to me, and maybe I didn't quite hear it correctly, but it also sounds to me like by the activities that you're doing and the engagement of faculty and staff, what you're also doing is facilitating the faculty and staff learning about feelings, learning about mental health issues, and giving them permission to participate and engage. And so it's, in many ways, it's the students also teaching the staff and faculty.
Yeah, of course. One thing that's really great about our generation, the college age and educational generation that we have going on right now, is there is so much we are much more open to change with the stigma against mental health. People are so quick to come out and talk about it and identify with their mental health issues, and we're being very proactive with it. And there's something that's extremely empowering about that in our generation, and it's how we're going to get real change. But not only that, we also are being taught by older generations. And so it's important to have, that beneficial relationship for faculty and staff to students, so that we can speak out about our own issues and feel that we can go to our teachers and our professors. And not only that, but that our teachers and professors feel comfortable checking in with us and even, identifying with their own mental health issues that they maybe have never identified with.
Yeah, I think that's correct. So where do you anticipate taking this work? Where do you want to go?
Yeah, so right now we are working on just campus-wide, really getting this up and going on campus, seeing real change on our campus. Our campus is actually really good about supporting mental health and supporting students on campus. I really do commend Missouri State on that. And we have actually recently partnered with one of the biggest behavioral health centers in our area, where they have, committed to spending $500,000 on getting a really good psychology program on campus. And so not only that, but we are just continually making changes to really support students on campus and counseling on campus. We know in our area that we don't have the population of people needing mental health help. We don't have enough providers. We don't have enough help available. And not only that, but college students also are 9 times out of 10 not fully financially stable enough to actually get the help that they need. And so Missouri State has been extremely helpful in that, and they're being very proactive to, prepare the next generation and get more providers out there. And so I think it's a really great place to be. But ultimately, I would love to see colleges and universities do the exact same thing and follow in suit and see that change on college campuses nationwide.
In closing, what would you like to see happen in 5 years?
Yeah. I think within 5 years, I would like to see not only younger generations speaking out about mental health and really being proactive, but seeing all generations. I think that it's really important to address mental health issues in early education and the geriatric population and really every sector. And so I think that it would be really great to see that nationwide, not only in K through 12 schools, but also in campuses and universities. Just really seeing that public outreach, people sharing their stories. We've talked a lot about how storytelling is extremely powerful. And I really think that one really important message is, your storytelling makes you an advocate. I think that a lot of people are under the impression that, there's shame that comes with your mental health issues and maybe the struggles that you're hiding behind closed doors, but it doesn't. And actually it really empowers you and makes you a perfect advocate for, what we have going on here.
Well, that's wonderful. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much.
All right.